Nope. I'm not doing it. Ain't doing it. Not worth it. You know what? Fine. We'll do this. No. We're gonna unpack this bitch, and it's going to be all on you. Belgian developers Grin Game Studios put their little passion project up on Kickstarter in 2015. It looked mighty interesting from my perspective, and I followed it until it was funded, and then promptly forgot about it, completely missing its release. Which anyone with half a goddamn functioning brain could tell you is a bad sign. Well, unfortunately, as part of the process, I had to remove most of my internal organs, stuff them into tiny little jars, hide them around the world, so I don't exactly have very much squiggly little gray matter up there to make what most people would consider rational decisions, and so here we are. The game released in March of that same year, being heavily inspired by, well, a couple of things. The obvious one, of course, being Alice Madness Returns. Why is nobody ever inspired by the original? It's a much better game. Anyway, it would also take its inspirations from some film noir, and aside from being a platformer, would also be a murder mystery. Ooh, spooky, a fresh take on an old classic. So how can Grin take a dark little fairy tale and twist it to make it something darker? They can't. This is Woolfe, the Red Hood Diaries. This game had about a $135,000 budget. Throw in a colon and make it an hour and 35 minutes, and you've got about as long as it took my incompetent ass to finish this drab little adventure. Anybody with more processing power between their ears will complete it in a much shorter order, and they even challenge you to complete just under half of the game in about 4.5 minutes. Take that one as a sign of how piss poor this game delivers on lengthy content, and two, a sign of my own great failures, I guess. But let's go back to the beginning. You play as Red, a DeviantArt reskin mod for Madness Returns who's investigating her father's mysterious death. What's so mysterious about his death? Well, he's a toy maker in a city inhabited entirely by Cossack robots. So, you know, maybe you or I wouldn't see anything out of the ordinary, but this is a fairy tale, so communist Terminators just kinda don't belong, apparently. The game starts you off in a tower hideout that looks like just about every tower hideout from every game ever. We get our absolutely wonderful first bit of trash tier voice acting with our first dosages of absolutely trash tier writing.
Mary sat beside me in 3rd grade. Her hair was fair, her skin so bright. Her mind, not so much. She copied my homework. I ate her lunch. One day, Mary's mother sat in the principal's office crying. We instantly knew, yet another girl missing. Yet another mystery in tomorrow's paper.
Half the dialogue rhymes, the other half doesn't for some reason. I am left to guess that they went with rhyming dialogue to help tie in the fairy tale motif, but it's all delivered so stiffly and with such poor voice acting that it comes off as very grating, especially when they will go from rhyming to not rhyming back to rhyming in a couple short sentences. Making our way downtown, walking fast, faces past, and now we're sneaking for some reason. Something we'll do only once or twice more throughout the rest of the game, and it won't be for stealth. The town of I don't care enough to remember the name is pretty much owned and run by B.B. Woolfe. Do you see what they did there? And he's essentially got it under martial law with his weird Tesla robots. Guy would give Karis an erection. The town is generic looking as fuck, everything is drab, snowy gray, and the Victorian motif fails to stand out from any game I have ever played. It looks less like an inspired passion project and more like a game I would have gotten for $5 back on Windows Vista. The story takes us to Daddy's office where we learned that he wasn't really making toys, he was actually making these evil robots all along, and... Hello? Hello? I said... The story takes us to Daddy's office where we learn he wasn't making toys and was making the evil robots all along. Thank you, and we get an axe and are introduced to our absolutely god-awful combat. You just mash heavy attack and roll from time to time. Light attacks are pretty much worthless. Later we get these stupid overpowered abilities and we're never at a loss for the special juice that lets us use them. Or our health, for that matter. The game is piss easy from a combat perspective and... sad. I'm sad. This game makes me sad. We go into the sewers where we chase the Piper of Hamelin, who has been abducting little girls for some reason, and he's a silent enemy no matter how much we monologue at him. He gets away because. We fight him again because, and we kill him. And then the devs remember that this is supposedly inspired by Madness Returns, and the forest is just exploded floating chunks and super magical for abso-fucking-lutely no good reason. Then there's a chase scene and a boss fight with Senor Lobo, which just... We get Wolf Fang Fist. Fuck you, Yamcha. Then Granny is dying, and they try to have another character with voice acting. I mean, they try to have some kind of dramatic dialogue, and oops, to be continued. I bet fucking not! The story is stupid. The voice acting is grating, and it all only drags me down into an unending pit where all I have is the weird rush of wind echoing through my skull cavity, and I start to wonder what buckshot tastes like. The gameplay isn't much better, unfortunately. The game features a double jump for whatever reason, and it also features a ledge grab, though only where they want you to. Look here, I can reach this ledge, but it's not how they want me to get up there, so I have to find a different ledge to hang from to drop down. Incredibly simplistic platforming segments punctuated by pretty stiff controls, token segments of combat to break the monotony up, and a heaping helping of instant failure tricks and traps to pad out the runtime. Thing spawns on ground, auto kills you, so you start this trash boss fight / trash platforming section all over again. Lather, rinse, repeat, insert shell, pull pump towards self, press pump forward back to neutral, release trigger lock, place barrel in mouth. Remember when I asked why nobody gets inspired by the first Alice? Well, it turns out these guys just might have been. Fall farther than Red's height, you take fall damage. Fall farther than 2 times her height, outright die. Because reasons. You know, fall damage in Alice was just a product of the time. It's kind of how you punished platforming failures in some segments of the game. Here it's just to slow you down and force you to take things slowly, and it's all just incompetent. The game lacks competency. They spent so much time wondering if they could make a game on 135 grand that they never really stopped to ask if they should. The game sucks the life out of me. 45 minutes in, I was dreading playing this for another 6 to 8 potential hours. Luckily, the completely asinine collectibles helped me figure out pretty quickly that this was going to be a pretty short affair. And yet, it still felt like an eternity sifting through a vast and growing void, infinite darkness punctuated by innumerable heinous lights, blinding me to everything. And in the endless expanse of the infinitesimal, I am here. And then here are the credits. And the universe did less than blink. Time, immutable, grinding, crushing, uncaring, had been muted for a time. And I bear that now. The full weight of infinitude that had been lost in that endless pause thrust upon me. Crushing, grinding, forever. The game's aesthetics are tired. The city is drab and uninspired. The forest is just otherworldly bright greens and floaty space cliches with 1 or 2 quick combat segments thrown in to poorly pad the game. The soundtrack is a downer. I don't even remember if it's even truly there or is just a fever dream. The story is just nails on a chalkboard narration with all sorts of random things being spewed out. Girls are being kidnapped, never gets explored. Mom was apparently a fucking slave in the acid mines, brought up entirely out of left field, never mentioned again. Apparently Red is supposed to be some kind of savior to the town populated only by robots that she blew the fuck up. Granny is some kind of super combat witch who taught Red to do axe-based kung fu, and the ever-present BB Wolf boss man guy who is the sole reason that we're doing this never fucking shows his face until the end, and even then, never utters a single goddamn word. Grin closed its doors in 2015, and I'm pretty sure you can guess why. The game was poorly received. It was properly and rightfully memory hold here until my stupid ass came along, unearthing it like some kind of moronic jackass at the start of a horror movie, unleashing the eldritch evil onto the world once more. Well, joke's on you, motherfuckers! I ain't going to go on some crazy quest to undo the great evil I've done and save the world! If I have to suffer, so do you. That which does not live can eternally lie, and with strange eons time, maybe even Woolfe can die. I'm the Necroswanson, and you can go fuck yourselves.